Hello, thanks for clicking on this video and taking the time out of your grinds to watch. This video will be all about the deep swamps and lands of Morytania and its evil vampiric ruler called Lord Drakon. So if you're ready, let's dive right in. Although it's hard to imagine, Morytania used to be beautiful. Its lakes and forests were very popular, but its crown jewel was the city of Hallowvale. Ruled by the Icene queen called Efaurete, this land prospered. This ended in the Fourth Age, when a darkness swept the land. A vampire called Lord Drakon with a horde of his followers attacked the city of Hallowvale, and after many years, the city was brought to its knees. He quickly erected the Vire Wall, trapping everyone that was still inside the city. He then divided the city into two parts. The northern part was called Darkmeyer and housed rich vampires. Lord Drakon also built a giant castle next to Darkmeyer, and it became his base of operations. The southern part was called Meyerditch, and here is where the survivors lived. They were enslaved by Lord Drakon, forced to give the vampires blood tithes. Some of those survivors managed to escape, and they created the villages known as Berderat and Morton in secret. At the end of the Fourth Age, Lord Drakon had become a legend. Not much later, settlers came from Misthalin and created Canifis, the Lordship of North Coast, and Port Phasmatis. These settlements quickly became trading routes. After a few years, Lord Drakon noticed how large the settlements in the northern parts of Morytania had become, and decided to take ownership of the area. Canifis was conquered without a fight. They surrendered at the sight of Lord Drakon's werewolves, and these werewolves began to live there. The Lordship of the North Coast contains some parts of the northern part of Morytania, like the Haunted Forest and Fenkenstrain's Castle. These were created to be a peaceful place, a place in which people could worship any god they wanted, but after Drakon's conquest, they were forced to serve him. The large port of Phasmatis was also noticed by Lord Drakon, and they were forced to give blood tithes just like the inhabitants of Meyerditch. Years later, a necromancer came from a land in the far east and promised to save them. The necromancer showed them the power of a resource close to their port called ectoplasm, and so they built a temple above the resource. This ectoplasm created a shield, which even Lord Drakon couldn't penetrate. But the inhabitants of the port couldn't get food, as they were blocked off by the shield themselves. They all died, but the ectoplasm kept them in RuneScape, and they remained as ghosts in the town. After Lord Drakon took control of northern Morytania, he went over the River Salve and marched towards the city of Avaraka, now called Varak. 7 priestly warriors were appointed to deal with this threat. These Saradoan warriors fought Lord Drakon's forces, and after many battles, they finally managed to push them back into Morytania. These warriors created the fortress of Paterdomus to keep Lord Drakon's forces from entering Misthalin. They also blessed the River Salve, making its water deadly to vampires and werewolves. The people of Morytania, however, were left to their fate, and the inhabitants of Misthalin ignored their suffering. They lived like Morytania didn't even exist. One of the warriors, called Evandis Sirges, wasn't a coward and kept attacking Lord Drakon's forces in Morytania. He died and was secretly buried in one of the caverns under the Morytanian Swamp with the legendary Rod of Evandis. Drezel, one of the priests that inhabit Paterdomus, doesn't want to believe this. Probably because this would reveal that the 7 priestly warriors were cowards, hiding in a fortress after saving their own lands instead of saving Morytania. Even though Lord Drakon wasn't able to take over Misthalin, he still controlled the largest city known to RuneScape, by the name of Meyerditch. The city of Meyerditch was built upon a mountain with a castle on top. Lord Drakon's castle isn't the only castle in the city. The former castle of Queen Efaurete, now inhabited by Lady Verzig-Vitter, stands in the southeast part of the city. Lady Verzig-Vitter also runs a theater in which champions can fight monsters to earn their freedom. Lord Laurniel Vergidad Drakon isn't the only one bearing the name Drakon in Morytania. He also has a brother and sister. His brother always enjoyed being in the spotlight, often walking through Darkmeyer just to look down on the inhabitants and show his wealth. We don't know much about his sister, Vanescula Drakon. Her loyalty to Lord Drakon and Rannis is not certain, as she seems interested in the leader of the Meyer Key called Saflan, instead of wanting him dead. Lord Drakon hasn't been seen for centuries, leaving many to wonder if he is still alive. We did hear that Drakon had brought one of the monsters that currently resides in the Theater of Blood from his own planet of Vampirium, but we don't know when. Some inhabitants of Morytania had decided that with Lord Drakon's absence, they had the perfect opportunity to create a resistance. And they did. They called this resistance the Meyer Key, or the Morytanian Order. Their base is located in a tunnel system under the Morytanian Swamp. This is where they got their name from. This resistance tries to liberate Morytania from the evil clutches of Lord Drakon and the other vampires. The resistance group has always been small, but we are hearing reports of more people joining the resistance. Now that we know most of Morytania's history, let's briefly look at the developments in the past few years concerning the Liberation of Mauritania. We have heard reports from Berderat that the town has largely been rebuilt, and the Morytanian Order have moved their base from the Morytanian Swamp to Berderat. This brings them closer to Meyerditch, and maybe they'll even be able to move some people from Meyerditch to Berderat. The town of Sleep has a church dedicated to Zamorak. We don't know if Drakon is in league with Zamorak, but he does allow worshipping of the god. The brother of Lord Drakon, called Rannis Drakon, has recently been killed by an adventurer. This is a huge victory for the resistance, and we are eager to see what impact this will have on the size of the resistance. This was the lore behind Morytania and Lord Drakon. It would be great if you could leave a like and share this video with your friends. This would let the genre grow and get more people interested in the story behind the game they play. And don't forget to subscribe if you like these sorts of videos. Good luck on your grinds, and have a fantastic day.